everybody, to an all-new episode of GVN Review. This episode, as you can see for 2 out of the 4 of our screens, we will be talking the brand new release of James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. This will be a spoiler review, so if you have not seen it, go check it out, either in your local theaters or on HBO Max, and then come back here and listen to our spoiler review. Before we get into everything, I want to introduce my panel, starting off with Tia. What's going on, Tia?
Hello, everyone. I was going to say Dom and I are the ones who don't have green screens. So you can say on the one side, green screens. On the other side, no green screens.
I think I could change that. I don't know how. Oh, what? There we go. Okay. So now I'm looking at it to where me and Trayvon are on one side and you and Dom are on the other side.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like a puzzle piece where me and Trayvon have half of it, and you or Dom are just like, you know what? I don't do puzzles.
I don't do puzzles.
Well, welcome to you. Next up, Dom. What's going on, Dom?
Man, I'm good, man. It's been a busy week, but made it through. Feeling good. Suicide Squad is fantastic. So we'll get into it.
Absolutely. And Warner Brothers, look. You guys looked out for us the other day with Titans, so I'm going to be nice about this, but we need to start being able to go to these red carpets. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to just put this out there. I saw somebody on the red carpet that I was in the same room as in New York Comic-Con when we did the Titans panel. So if I could be in that circle, I don't understand why we can't get an invite to a red carpet. Just saying, you guys do them in LA and New York, so somebody from GVN can get out there if you guys invite us. So invite us. Anyway, Trayvon, sorry to launch that before introducing you. Just so you guys know, Trayvon said all that. He does not speak for GVN.
No, I did not. No.
So go after Trayvon. No, anyway, Trayvon, what's going on, man?
Hi, everybody. I literally just saw it an hour ago, so I just finished. So
nice
I
and
just
fresh.
very much so. I'm ready to talk about this. It was a lot of fun, very bloody, and there's something in there that just made me cringe, made me want to look away every time that it was used, and I can't wait to talk about that. So yeah, I'm happy to be here.
All right. Before we go into it, I am just curious. Where'd you guys see it? I saw it at home. I did not go to the theaters to see it. I caught it at home. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. I know the theaters don't want to hear that. I'm sorry. It's not even a COVID thing at this point. I'm going to be getting my shot soon, so it's not even a COVID thing. It's literally purely a comfort thing. Dom, I remember telling you this. I did not think I could enjoy King Kong vs. Godzilla on my big screen at home. I thought I had to be in a movie theater to enjoy that.
Right.
When I finished that movie at home, and I was just like, damn, I enjoyed that. That kind of unlocked to me, I don't really need to be in the theater for everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think at home, as long as you got a decent sized TV, you're straight. I think that maybe on a computer screen or your laptop screen, that's when it might take away from some of the experience. Because I have watched a couple of screeners on my laptop because I was on the go, and it's not the same as being on my TV. So if you got a decent sized TV or some decent sound, you're probably good.
Yeah. So, I mean, to me, like I said, I know and we're not getting into any of this, but I know the whole thing with Disney, they'll probably never do that with any of their Marvel or Star Wars products going forward. And I know HBO Max got a lot of crap from directors, writers, actors. But I'm sorry, actors, directors, studios, you're gonna have to get over it. It's kind of like, what do they say in the movies? Once an animal tastes flesh, he now has a taste for it. He now wants it. It's now all he knows. That's kind of the world I'm living in mentally of, I've done it a few times and it's not been bad. Like, sure, would I like to see Dune in the theaters? For sure. Do I mind watching it at home? Not even a little bit.
Well, yeah, like I watched it on HBO Max. I had no problem with it. I mean, yeah, it would have been cool to see it in the movies. It would have. It's a big movie and all that. But as you said, it's now at the comfort level. And I know I always repeat myself, but I wasn't even that big of a movie theater person prior to all this happening. So, I mean, for me, it's like, wow, you mean I get to put it on and just chill in my bed and that's it? There's not not that you have to travel that far to the theater where I am, but you don't got to go to Publix, you don't have to, to me, I was like, this is great. I love it. So yeah, I mean, it was fine.
I always just harken back to, and I know a lot of people go, it's the experience. There's nothing like going to the movies. Remember people back in early 2000s and in the 90s, they would tell you there's nothing like going to Blockbuster, talking with people in line, asking like, hey, did you see this movie? Is it good? Yeah, man, you got to see it. Now people just go on Twitter and they just type in Suicide Squad and they just look at people saying whether they liked it or not. And then they can just go to HBO Max and watch it. So the world changes. So I used to be very against you, Tia, when you were like, I don't need to go to the movies. I'm like, yes, you do. But to be fair, it was all we knew. Yeah. If I could watch half the movies I enjoy at home, I would have been right there with you, Tia. Like, yeah, what do I need to go for left foot, right foot? I just watch that at home. I don't need to go to the theater to go see that. So I think we're kind of just moving into a new stratosphere that a lot of studios are afraid of. But there's just no need to be afraid of it, man. Because I can tell you this: the amount of money people have to spend to go to a movie theater, you give them an opportunity to watch it at home. Again, I paid $30 for Black Widow. It's just sitting in my Disney Plus forever now.
Yeah,
I don't mind doing that for Shang-Chi. I don't mind doing that for Eternals. I don't mind. I really don't.
See, that's the thing. See, okay, what are you about to say?
I was gonna say I got a buddy of mine who's got 3 kids. So and his girlfriend has a daughter. So if all of them go to the movies, just the tickets alone is going to be around $100, over $100. So if they have the chance to spend $30 at home versus $100 something going to the theater, and kids want snacks, I'm gonna watch it at home. You know what I mean? So I feel
not even to mention, and I don't have kids, so I'm not even trying to act like I share the struggle. But the idea of getting all the kids ready. And then the one kid that's like in the middle of the movie at a good part, I gotta go pee, and you're like, Iron Man's about to die. What do you mean you have to pee? Like hold it.
That is another thing. It's like, even for us adults, when you got to use the bathroom and it's like, I'm going to miss a part. It's like, if it's at home, you can just pause it. Like, I'll give you an example. I become so spoiled with these screeners that I was so sad when we couldn't get a screener for the Suicide Squad. But like, I'll just give you an example, right? I'm like grateful when we get screeners to go see these Marvel movies, right? But a lot of them are in New York City, which you're like, Tia, you live in Westchester. It's not that far. It's a $15 train ride, for a round trip. Then the movie theater is nowhere near the actual Grand Central. So either I have to take a train, which I'm usually rushing, so I have to take a cab. Sometimes that could be $20 to the theater and then $20 from the theater back to Grand Central. That's like a $60 day for me. So it's like the movies are expensive, even when you're seeing, say, a free screener. So if I could just watch it at home, I'm gonna prefer to watch it at home.
It's as simple as that. Just give it to us at home,
I think what I'm seeing is, okay, for me, I knew the movie. I specifically looked at the movie was shot in IMAX, like all the way through. Yeah. If it was, I'm like, okay, I'll go. Because like for this movie, I knew it was, and I was okay, I know it's right there on my TV. I know it's there. But I was like, I really want to see it in the theater just because it's IMAX. If it wasn't IMAX, I wouldn't go. Like, yeah, so that was like the main reason. So
I am curious, Trayvon, do you plan on seeing this again at home?
No, and I'm gonna tell you why. It's my last time watching it. I watched it once. It is not that it's bad. It's just something in it. I can't do it again. It's just something in it that I just.
It doesn't have rewatchability.
No, I only asked. Oh no, I'm sorry.
It's not. I'll tell you what it is. It's the rats. I can't do it. I can't.
Oh, like, you're like Bloodsport. That's so cute.
You know what's funny? Woo. I literally felt like that was a Black thing.
Oh my God.
When he did it, because I've never felt something more to my soul. When he just like, what the fuck is that? And she's just like, what? And he's like, what is that on your shoulder? And it's like, it's my friend. And it's like, no.
Come on, it's
And
like being in New York City. You don't go down to the subways. You see them all the time there.
Listen.
No.
This is one. Look, I've seen so many memes about that. That's why I will never come there to live. I know that's. I've
Wait,
seen
let
too
me
many.
say this, Trayvon. Let me scare you a little bit
Like,
more. I didn't see it myself because I'm with you. But Pete sent to our Figure It Out group chat a super rat.
What is that?
No, this was a mega super rat dragging a super rat underneath the trash.
Oh, I saw that.
I said, hell no, Pete. Don't you send that in that group chat.
Wait.
I don't want to see
my
that.
God.
I go to New York too often. There's no way I want to see that.
Oh my
Hell
God.
no.
Not to like stay on this subject for too long, but the other day, so my boyfriend just started working at a restaurant. So he's like, hey, can you meet me afterward, after I get out of work? And so I'm standing there like outside, and it wasn't near the restaurant. It was like on the side and everything. And I'm just kind of looking, it's dark, and I can't see the best. So I see this like shadow. I'm just like thinking it's a shadow. I'm not really fully paying attention. And then I see it move and I realize it's this massive rat. And I'm like, oh my God.
No, thank you. I'd rather deal with a shark than a rat.
Listen, that last part,
but I would.
The last part, I couldn't. I just was like, what? I was like, oh my God.
To me, that was hilarious because I'm like, of course, James Gunn would have a movie where rats save the day.
Yeah. And speaking of that, great way to get us back on course.
Yes.
Speaking of James Gunn, I tell you what, he has a model, because if you left Suicide Squad not feeling like you just watched a grittier Guardians of the Galaxy,
yeah,
I would tell you have to go see it again. King Shark was clearly your Groot.
Yeah.
Ratcatcher was clearly your Rocket. You obviously know who Peter Quill was. You obviously know who Gamora was, Nebula, so on and so forth. There's definitely a formula he takes when it comes to these. And I do like it. Me and Tia had to talk about our thoughts. My issues with this movie are more so fundamentally. But I don't think this movie was bad at all. But the fundamentals, they sway me. They sway the hell out of me.
And if I can say really quick, with Guardians of the Galaxy, I remember walking out of the theater going, how is a talking raccoon and a tree my favorite characters? And I walked out of this going, how is a dumb shark and a lady who controls rats my favorite characters?
Yeah.
So he knows what he's doing when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, I will say, and we'll get into this. Again, this isn't structured. So however you feel about the movie when I pass it to you, that's what you talk about. So we're not going to necessarily do beginning, middle, end kind of breakdown. All right, we'll be here forever. There's just too much to break down in this 2.5-hour movie. So speaking of Ratcatcher 2, because it's not Ratcatcher, it's Ratcatcher 2. Shout out to Taika Waititi for being the original Ratcatcher. That was a nice little nod. Also, seeing Palm. Is it Palm? Yeah, Palm. Seeing her in this movie was awesome too. So he tried to find a way to get Zoe Saldana and Chris Pratt in this movie. You know he did. But anyway, speaking of Ratcatcher 2 and King Shark, I kind of wish he went more so not unknown, but non-mainstream characters with the rest of this ensemble. Some of his choices just let's get right into it, okay? Let me get into my thoughts, and now I'm going to pass it on. My issue with this movie, my only issue with this movie, was it did sometimes have pacing issues. It did have a subplot that was completely unnecessary. And it killed off 2 Flash villains when we don't even have a Flash movie yet. So I was speaking to Joel about this, and he goes, well, in the comics, Captain Boomerang's son, if anyone's seen the trailer to Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, that's his son. That's the Captain Boomerang in that group. It's not the original Captain Boomerang. So he's like, well, maybe they can go with Captain Boomerang's son for any Flash, rogues gallery that they want to do. My issue with that is the CW didn't do Captain Boomerang any justice. So you're essentially telling me I can't get the original Captain Boomerang ever. And it's like, I don't like it. It's why if James Gunn's Suicide Squad was its own thing it was Elseworld, I would have enjoyed this movie so much more because there would have been, like, it wouldn't have mattered who died. You could have literally killed Waller. You could have killed everybody. And I would have just went, bravo, you know? But to me, when you kill off the Thinker, who is a big Flash villain, you kill off Captain Boomerang, who is a big Flash villain, that bothers me. It bothers me, you know? Because it's like, well, I don't want to see 3 movies of Flash versus speedsters. I don't. I want to see him versus Road Gallery. So that's really what bothered me. And then the whole plot of the freeing the people of Corto Maltese was just like, well, what? Like, why do I care? Like, you really set nothing up. Like, you didn't have a scene where they were torturing people. You know what I'm saying? Or you found out like no one could eat because the hierarchy was taking it. It just really set nothing up. You know, all you really did was just give me another reason to look at Alice Braga, which I'm not complaining. Love her. But
Well,
go ahead, Trayvon.
The one thing he said about how they were taking people and people were disappearing at Jotunheim every time they said that. So they were taking people to execute there. That family was. That's what he was saying if they was telling the truth. I mean, that's something that was happening. And
yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
I think if you had focused a little bit more on that, a little bit more on the struggle of the people. Because think about it, you saw her 3 times. You saw her when they cornered Flagg. You saw them when the squad went to go rescue Flagg, and then you saw her at the very end where she liberated her people. And it was just like, well, if you here's my thing. Whenever you put something in a movie, I always go the logic of, if I remove it, does this movie change at all? If you remove those 3 scenes, does that drastically change the movie at all? I don't think so. No. Because think about this. You could have had it to where the bad guys actually did kidnap Rick Flagg, and you still have the scene of the Suicide Squad taking out everybody to go rescue Flagg. So it being part of the insurgents didn't really, if you remove that whole premise, it doesn't change anything. So I wasn't really a fan of that. It was weird that it was in it. But outside of that, I thought this movie was cool. It reminded me of a superhero version of Smokin' Aces, which, if anyone knows me, knows Smokin' Aces is one of my all-time favorite movies. I love it. It reminded me of that. You bring together some of the deadliest people ever for one common goal. And then when they get to the common goal, all hell breaks loose to where you're just like, well, I've killed a lot more people than I expected to today. But all right, enough out of me. I'm passing it to you, Tia. What were your thoughts on this movie?
Oh, I don't know how I'm supposed to unpack all of my thoughts of this movie. First of all, I have to say I did love the beginning. First of all, I'm a huge Johnny Cash fan, so anytime you start a movie with a Johnny Cash, especially from Folsom Prison, I mean, I was like, oh, James Gunn, you get it. My favorite thing about the beginning of that movie, and I know that we're not going to go in chronological order, but I do want to talk about this. My favorite thing is just framing Michael Rooker to be this like really badass character. He's sitting there and he's, you know, with the ball and everything, and he's all gruff and he's calling everyone around him an amateur. And then for him to be the one to look at all of the carnage and chaos and just be like, start crying and run away and get, to me, it's hilarious. I don't know if some people maybe were upset by that and going, oh, I wish I could have seen badass Rooker, but to me it was just hilarious. Taking your expectations and throwing them out there. I think that we knew that that group was going to be cannon fodder, and it perfectly played on that, although I really wasn't expecting it to kill Captain Boomerang off so quickly, but to me, I didn't mind it. You know, it doesn't hurt me at all, but I was, oh, okay, shit. So that was just insane. I thought that was perfectly structured well. Like you said, the movie did have some pacing issues. There were some scenes I didn't like. I could have done without the whole, I'm this really suave guy and I want to marry Harley because it looks good for my people, and you know, I'm so suave and everything like that, and we're having this beautiful romance and although again, I kind of love that she killed him because, you know, and her just like, ooh, sorry, but you mentioned kids, you know, and I'm not down with that, which perfectly shows the chaos of Harley, but also the heart of Harley. And I don't want to like take too long with my thoughts here, so I'll just say Ratcatcher 2, absolute standout favorite, loved her so effing much. I mean, I do want to know why she's tired all the time, but kind of same also. I feel her, but
I kind of feel like they were playing on how lazy millennials are. Like,
oh yeah, when they're like, oh, millennials.
Right. It's not necessarily tired. It's just like millennials are lazy. It's like, hey, get out there and mow the grass. Just like,
okay. I was like, this is ridiculous.
But I just think of more so as like, you know, us millennials just being like uber lazy.
Yeah, I loved her so much. Her like carefree attitude, how nice she was. I love the moment with King Shark where he's like, I'm gonna wear a mustache. She's like, oh, you're going to wear a disguise, aren't it? It's just so funny. Her relationship with Bloodsport was fantastic. I love seeing the little flashbacks between her child and her you know, her as a child with her dad, Taika Waititi, shout out, of course. So I love that dynamic. King Shark was awesome. Harley, of course, every scene that she's in is an absolute standout.
Real quick, I wanted to ask you, Tia, did you catch the mirror between Suicide Squad and Guardians at the end of the movie?
I want to know what you're talking about.
It was a sentimental comparison. So remember when they got back on the aircraft and the rat landed on his leg and he started petting him? Does that not remind you of the end of Guardians where Rocket lost Groot and Drax started to rub his head? And he allowed it because in that moment they were friends now. They're not, you know, they're not bitter enemies. It's their family now.
Yeah.
So it was the idea of Bloodsport not necessarily being okay with rats, but him accepting that rat.
Well, I will say, as much as I'm not a rodent fan, I actually have a cousin who had rats as pets for a hot second and did not like going to her house at all. But I will say I was rooting for Sebastian. I was like, if Sebastian dies, I'm not going to be happy about this. But I don't know. I liked how, I mean, I know it was supposed to be like a reboot of such and everything, but I liked how it did grow on the first one. I mean, now Amanda Waller has these employees who are essentially doing Deadpools on the Suicide Squad. I thought that was great. How dysfunctional are. I mean, first of all, they don't know that Weasel can't swim. They don't know that Bloodsport has a rat phobia. I mean, it's great. I love this. So there's so much of it. I know we'll get more into it, obviously. I will say one last thing. I did not feel that Birds of Prey warranted a rated R, right? Like rating. But I feel as if they did well with the R rating here. There was enough, you know, profanity and violence. It warranted. It wasn't overly gory or violent, but it also wasn't so little that you sat there and said, couldn't they have done a PG-13? So I did like that a lot. And I know we'll talk a little bit later about the Rick Flag and Peacemaker thing, so I'll reserve for right now, but I was sad.
Yeah, I mean, I did think some of the cursing was a little forced at some points, but that's why I kind of feel like to me, when you agree to be rated R, right? Everyone, some people don't know this, so for the people that do, you know, just bear with me. But some people don't know that making something rated R is for like a million different things. It's not one thing, so you can't go, oh man, I have like the dude's butt cheeks out, so I have to make it rated R. Like, no, it has to be a bevy of things. So I kind of feel like he was trying to fit a whole bunch of things in to kind of make it have to be rated R. But really, honestly, the only thing that you really needed, once you see King Shark rip a man in half, it's kind of like, well, that's your rated R right there, right?
Well,
there.
That and the scene where they were showing where the like baby Starro was like above and they saw like, I mean, so horrific, but to me that was worth it. Not necessarily the cursing. We could have done probably without that. We could have done without seeing that dude's junk or seeing those girls, you know, breasts and everything. We could have, you know, done without that, but those gory moments that made the R.
I will say that seeing a package moment caught me very uncomfortable.
John Cena, that was absolutely necessary. I loved it.
Oh, in the tiny white.
Look.
I was
Absolutely
shocked. I was
loved
shocked. I
all
was
the
like,
angles as well. All the angles, loved it. I was like, yes, this is great.
I
when
will
they
say
showed, I was
this
just like,
Yes,
for the
yes.
for the
I was
people
like, yes,
for the people that worked for. I am glad you got it.
yes, loved it.
I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to say that I'm sitting eating my popcorn, and I'm just looking at a UPS delivered package on my screen. I didn't even know it warranted that. Like, no one else is in their underwear. Like, what are
my
you
question
doing?
is, did John Cena say like, I really want to be in tidy whities right now, or James Gunn was like, you're going to be in some tidy whities right now?
It is. You know what I think it is?
Either way, it's fine.
And I know you're going to judge me, T. I was just watching Thor: Dark World the other day, right?
Oh,
It was this random scene where he was just bathing, and it was just like, well, who is this for? And it was just like, yeah. Well, that's my point exactly. So I think this is probably more so the studio just like, have you seen John Cena's body? Show it off. Like, show the man.
Well, no, for me, so I'm not like, I like John Cena, I guess, as a person. I don't know him personally, but like, yeah, as a
He
person, if
seems
that
fun.
makes sense.
He seems fun.
He seems fun, but
Yeah.
like body type isn't like my number one there. But when they showed Joel Kinnaman shirtless, I was like, thank you, James Gunn. You're so kind.
It's just weird how that doesn't work for us guys. We don't get that. We don't we don't get that. That's not fair. But anyway, Trayvon, I'm gonna go to you next, man. What were your thoughts on this movie?
I thought it was really interesting how they kind of, I won't say tricked us, but really based off the trailers, like it really threw me at the beginning of the movie. I was like, wait, what's happening? I was like, why is she here already?
The movie was messed up. I was like,
Yeah.
is this in the wrong spot?
Yeah.
I will congratulate him on that. He
Yeah.
started it off so fast paced. Like
Yeah.
there was no time to catch your breath. And I honestly thought, I'm sorry, Trayvon, I'm gonna go right back to you. I think he kind of did it because if you saw the first Suicide Squad, you didn't have to go through the rigmarole of, well, this is the bomb that's in their neck. This is what you already know, you know? So he was kind of playing off of, well, clearly people saw the first one, so I can kind of just go right to it. And then he kind of gave us that flashback of seeing how the other team came to be. But it was very, you saw the implant in Michael Roper's neck to let you know that they still do that. You know, it didn't stop. So it was really fast paced, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah, I really like that a lot. I like how they did that. That was really surprising, and I love that they kind of tricked me with that. I was like, oh, cool, okay, let's not starting how I thought. You know, I thought they were gonna be saving her, like something already happened to her. That's the first thing they're doing. Oh no, it's not. Okay, cool. I was really shocked by all the deaths at the beginning. I was like, oh, we're starting right off. We're not even no waiting. And I really
James Gunn did say, don't get attached.
I mean, see, okay, so for me, when he said that, right, I was like, okay, I can kill anyone. I was like, can he really? Can you kill Harley? That's what I kept thinking the whole time. I was like, is he going to kill her? Is he going to do it? Because there was stuff floating around. I can't help but see this stuff. She's saying, oh, I'm not playing her. Like, this is my last time playing her. I was like, okay, look, stop saying stuff like that until I see it. Because now that's influencing my thoughts when I'm watching it. So yeah, you know, but it's so many times. Oh my gosh, is it gonna do it right here? I hope not. Don't do it. Is it gonna do it? No, he did. Okay, cool. You know, I was happy she got out. Ratcatcher 2, she's great. She's very nice. I can't do it. I can't. I honestly do not want to see her again. I'm sorry. I like the girl. Everything. I did not like that power. So whatever that is, keep it. I'm sorry. I can't do it. Especially the end. I just couldn't. Oh my God. That's why I said, oh, not watch this movie ever again. I could deal with all the stuff before a little bit. But for me, what it made me think of was, is it that many rats around that she could just call?
Oh my God.
I was like, wow.
I tell you right now, the biggest population probably on Earth is between rats and roaches. Those are probably our largest population on Earth is between rats and roaches, because they'll always be here. Like, no matter what happens to us as people, they'll be here.
Them cockroaches.
They just adapt. They adapt better than really anything. Roaches are just like, I don't think they're ever meant to die. Like, no. I think unless you step on one, They're here. They're just here.
Let's see. John Cena's body, great. Loved it. Love that part. I love the angle. I was like, oh, he gonna do another angle. Thank you. Let's see. So what else?
Trayvon is like, we need the John Cena cut. I
loved it.
know there was more scenes.
Listen, I am much more excited for Peacemaker show now. I'm just gonna say that right now. After like the end there, I was like, oh, he's dead. I was like, so it's a prequel? That's all I think. I hate knowing about stuff before I see it. That's all I think about. I was like, okay, it's gonna be a prequel now. That's all like where my mind was going. Let's see. They killed Rick Flagg, which I really was kind of surprised by, and I was like, okay, he's dead. Huh. All right, well, we'll see him again. Harley, just great as ever. She plays that part so well. I love that. Just completely perfect casting. That's up there with Robert Downey Jr. for me, Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool, Chris Evans, Captain America. It's perfect. She was perfect to be cast as that. Let's see what else.
She literally killed someone with her thighs. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And I was
the way she used that jab.
There's worse ways to go.
I can tell you right now, Dom, if someone goes, hey, you're gonna be executed. Electric chair, lethal injection, Harley Quinn squeezing you with her thighs. I'll take Harley Quinn squeezing me with her thighs for $300. Yeah. I will gladly take that, please.
And man,
he died with a smile on his face. He did. You know he did. He got right to those pearly gates and go, you know how I got here? How? Harley Quinn.
They're like,
stabbed you? No, those thighs, man. Squeezing with her thighs. It's like, oh, what? It's like, she stabbed me. That's crazy.
Also, a Polka Dot Man, I really like the way he was like disformed when he was building up the I was like, oh my God, imagine that life. Like, that's awful. And
did you feel though, Trayvon, like as if, like, I know that James Gunn said that he brought in Polka Dot Man because he thought he was the dumbest character alive, but didn't you think his powers actually were probably the most useful? I mean, they literally like incinerated people.
Yes, they did. They worked very well. I didn't like, and that's another thing, in the trailers you didn't see what they did. Like, right. You saw them shoot him at one point, but you didn't actually see what happens when they touch somebody. So I was like, so that's what they do. I said, okay, this works. This works perfectly.
I would definitely tell people, if they thought Polka Dot Man was useless, there are two characters named Kite Man and Condiment King that exist in DC. And their names are exactly what their abilities are. So to me, it's like, I can't wait for James Gunn's sequel to this, where we possibly see Condiment King just squirting ketchup and mustard in somebody's eye as they stab him to death. Like, what is this? What are you doing? Yeah, we definitely need this.
The only inconsistency that I had was when King Shark was getting bit by those other like jellyfish things or whatever, but then they could make him bleed, but he was bulletproof as well. Right. I was like I don't understand.
He's a demigod. So I think the idea.
Why were they able to bite him though? Like,
because I don't think his skin is impenetrable. Like, perfect example. You could stab Superman with a kryptonite bullet, right? I mean, a kryptonite knife, and it would go through. But a regular knife wouldn't, right? So I think because they're of the sea, his skin isn't impervious to things of the sea. But bullets, because he's a demigod, they just don't work on him. I know my explanation makes it sound even more confusing, but that's just how I put it in my head.
I was okay. Man-made stuff doesn't work. That's how my explanation. But it still was weird to see him getting chewed up and all that. And then all of a sudden, and like this, also the starfish didn't. The starfish, the things weren't biting him either. They weren't working either.
They can't lock onto his face because you see the dimensions of our face. They couldn't fully lock onto him because his face sticks so far out. So it couldn't literally lock onto his face. So I thought that was interesting. I also thought it was very good directing of James Gunn to have Blood. Can't believe I just forgot his name. Yes,
Bloodsport?
I don't know why.
Okay.
I was gonna say Bloodline. I don't know why. Anyway,
Uh,
I love how Bloodsport lost his mask right before the ending to kind of make it climactic of like, oh,
yeah.
one of those things attached to him. So I thought that was very well done because to me, I was just kind of like, well, he has a mask, so doesn't it kind of just defeat the purpose of the things being dangerous to him? So I did like how they did that.
I also thought at the very end, this is my last thing. When he like threatened Waller or whatever, he was like, oh, that's our ride. I was like, is this gonna kill them? Like that's all I thought about while the thing was coming. I was like, oh my god, they're all gonna die right here. Like I was like, but they didn't do it. I was like, okay, all right, cool. So they let him survive, and now we know we're getting a Peacemaker sequel show to this, not a prequel like I thought it was gonna happen.
Amanda Waller was like cold in this, by the way.
Did you say prequel show, Trayvon?
That's what I thought they were gonna do when I saw him die or whatever.
Did you see the end of the movie?
I did. I saw the after credit scene. Yeah, I thought I saw that. I was like, oh, okay, it's a sequel show. It's a sequel show.
Which,
I don't understand
by the
what
way,
they mean by save the world, but
I'm gonna come back after Dom. I'm gonna come back to you for you to go more into Rick Flagg. We're gonna talk a little bit more about the individual deaths before we end the show. But I will say that one part of me thought Peacemaker is what that end credit scene was. I really did think it was Rick Flagg.
I did too.
So I'm sitting there and I was just like, Tia, always be winning out here, man. Always be winning. And when it was Peacemaker, I was just like, oh.
Yeah, let me tell you, I was not happy about that. And I'm like, I thought, like, no disrespect to John Cena, as we said, he seems like a fun guy, but Peacemaker was literally one of the most annoying people in this movie. Like,
I love how dumb he is. I love how when she's describing it, he's just like, is Starfish code name for butthole? And it's just like, why would that ever be the case? Why would you think that? Like,
or when he was like, if this island was full of dicks, I would eat all of them. And again, I love Ratcatcher too. Just like, why would they put the dicks on?
exactly.
I mean, I even thought it was hilarious when she was just like, no way he would eat us. We're his friends. And it's just like, no. You're almost dead. Like,
right.
So close. Right. Yeah. If Polka Dot Man had not woke up Bloodsport, she'd be fish food right now, really.
Juwan, why do you have a tennis racket in your hand?
Oh, no, sorry. It's an electronic fly swatter. There's a fly in here that's sorry about that. I didn't even notice it went across the screen.
He's pulling out weapons like Bloodsport.
I know.
Yeah, right? How crazy would that be?
Before you move to Dom, I have to say one thing. I did really love the dynamic of Bloodsport and Peacemaker, because when Amanda Waller's like, each person is so unique and doesn't do anything that the other person does, and then she describes Peacemaker, and Bloodsport's like, he does exactly what I do.
Right. I will say it looks like that's what that's the kind of relationship it looked like David Ayer was aiming for between Rick Flagg and Deadshot. But it didn't have the comedic timing that Peacemaker in, because you needed one of them to be the straight guy and one of them to just be an idiot. And you were going to sell Will Smith on being an idiot.
And Rick Flagg and Deadshot just seemed like too macho, like bumping heads with each other in that. And that's why I liked in this one where like there was none of that between Bloodsport and Rick Flagg. They're like, oh, what's up, man? How you doing? And like, that was it.
And it also helps that they knew each other. They had worked together.
Right.
So it wasn't just essentially the idea of them both being like, oh, I'm super macho. Yeah. But Dom, I'm going to pass it over to you. I do want to know this, Dom. How hard did you laugh between the FU between father and daughter?
It's funny that you say that, because I remember when that scene first popped up, and I was like, why do they always have that little girl playing some kid that's in trouble?
Every time, man.
But to the other Suicide Squad, I think after the success of Will and Margot in that Focus movie, I think that they're like, that's what people want to see. They need that sexual tension. We'll just sell that. And I think that's kind of what.
But Focus was very underrated.
Yeah,
it was.
But no, I love this movie. I mean, it's exactly the kind of thing I wanted to see. I needed. I've been watching a lot of sentimental, existential, introspective things lately, and I needed like a good, violent, bloody break, and this was perfect for me. Um, yeah, the only thing I disliked was like Tia was saying was the dating montage with Harley because if you would have took out that part, you still could have had exactly what happened, her getting locked up and having to break free. And I don't know what that extra part was for. I'm sure that was probably it probably easily could have been like a deleted scene. But how did she get here from you know what I mean? So they probably didn't necessarily need it, but he's probably like, fuck it, why not? I'm not trying to go through this whole James Gunn cut. But yeah, I mean, I loved that dynamic between Peacemaker and Bloodsport was my favorite. Like John Cena, when he first started acting, I was not for it. I thought he was corny in the WWE, and I was like, why are you putting this guy in these movies? I can't, I can't. But over the past couple years, when he did Blockers and he did that firefighter movie, I can't remember what it's called.
Oh yeah, with Keegan Michael Key.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is funny as shit. Like he has really good comedic timing. I think he's able to do because people are gonna come at me for this, but I argue that he might be a little more charismatic on screen than The Rock.
I would agree.
I agree.
He's not afraid to go full goofy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
if I can be honest with you, Dom, I didn't become a fan of The Rock as an actor until Fast Five.
Okay.
Because that was literally The Rock playing the persona of the wrestler, The Rock. I'm this badass. I'm here to lay the smack down. Like, that's when I was just like, well, this is what you should do. When he was the head coach of that, what was it, Gridiron Gang?
Gridiron Gang,
what is this? What is this? So it wasn't until Fast Five that I was like, that's what I want to see more of. You know,
game plan was great. Now, come on, now game plan was.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't do emotional movies like that.
Oh, okay.
It's not my thing. So, look, if people out there like that and Tooth Fairy, no problem, no judgment here. I don't do movies like that.
Well, if I can interject for just 1 second, I know this has nothing to do with anything, but Kanan just reported today, like on our Twitter page, that like Hiram Garcia said that there's like a plan for a reboot of Scorpion King, and it reminded me that it is single-handedly one of the most awful movies of my life. And if you would have told me that The Rock would have continued on to have a successful acting career after that, I would have been very surprised back then.
Amen to that.
So I think, as Don was saying, I think John Cena almost has a better track record in his early acting career than The Rock does.
Yeah, I don't know what I did see an article pop up on my Google feed that was talking about how he his career's taking like a second life because it was like tanking, and then comedy is his bag, and I'm sure he didn't know. And same thing with Batista. He's kind of really good at comedies too. So I don't know if it's just the huge muscle bound dude dynamic of like doing something small but you're huge that works. But whatever they're doing, whatever acting coaches, teachers they have, it's working. Ratcatcher 2 was my favorite character. I have even put in my review. I never thought in a million years a person named Ratcatcher was going to be my favorite character of a superhero movie, but it happened. Rats die in my house because I have a snake, so I don't have a problem with rats. They just end up,
Wait, hold on. Don't they spit it back out?
No.
How do they digest it?
They swallow it. It get pooped out later, but that's it.
Oh, I thought they spit them back out.
Owls.
You're thinking of an owl.
Is that an owl?
Owls spit out the bones.
No, you know what I'm thinking of? That's what anacondas do. Yeah, they break your bones so that they could swallow you, and then in like 3 or 4 days, they just spit you back out. Obviously, clearly, you're dead. You're dead from them squeezing you to death. But I thought that was all snakes. I thought
the more you know.
Right.
Poop a couple days later, and it just looks like a little pellet of calcium or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's weird.
Mice have to be terrified. What are you?
Yeah.
What? Because
Luckily,
there's no teeth. They don't chew you.
Luckily I do frozen ones now, so I don't watch the carnage like I used to. So I'm a little more. I've toned it down a little bit.
Dom in the past is just looking like, yes.
It was like, yeah.
Eat him. Eat him.
Oh man, PETA is coming after us now.
I donate to the
Listen.
ASPCA every month. I'm all good. You know what I mean? Like I bounce it out. But no, yeah, same thing with King Shark. Like, I don't know how they did it because I'm not a big, huge Shark Week fan. But when they zoomed in on his face in that little sentimental moment, I was like, I feel bad for this shark. Like, I feel like he needs a hug, bro. What is going on? And the fact that they, I believe his voice was done by Sylvester Stallone.
Yep.
And was this supposed to be a joke? Because we know that we can't fully understand him all the time because it kind of the whole rocket. So I was like, is this a joke? Did they give him this role? It's kind of
that my boyfriend said the same thing. I was like, that's voiced by Sylvester Stallone. He's like, that's kind of mean.
Yeah.
I honestly took it more so as, again, it's the whole idea of taking a big guy like Vin Diesel and Sylvester Stallone and essentially getting them to say things like "I am Groot" and "Num Num." It's something that, like, when you think about it, you're like, why would I want to hear Sylvester Stallone say "Num Num"? And then you hear it, and you're just like, that is hilarious. That's really funny.
I took the Vin Diesel thing as a joke too, because Vin Diesel only says one thing: it's about family. My family. Look at my family.
That's it.
I'm Groot. I feel maybe
we are Groot.
We are Groot.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely one of those actors that you're just like, hey, do me a favor. When you're writing his lines, just don't do a lot. We don't really need talking from him. Like, don't.
James Gunn knows. He was probably like, he's probably sat him down and was like, look, man, you're kind of not like a joke, but you're a meme. You're easily a meme. You're gonna be this character, and we're gonna do exactly what you're known for: is speak gibberish. Okay, cool.
I mean, he gave him a bigger part in Guardians of the Galaxy too,
That's
so
true.
He's a fan.
I mean, he also just said recently he would love to do a Revengers show for Disney Plus, where obviously Sylvester Stallone was the leader of it. So yeah, I mean, he loves Sylvester Stallone, so I'm sure there's some stuff he would love to do more with Sylvester Stallone. But I mean, again, it's just the idea of who would have thought that? You know what I'm saying? It's like
he's like mustache,
right? I mean, it's like if someone told me Arnold Schwarzenegger is like a pencil in like an animated movie, I would go, that's hysterical.
Yeah, I mean, I love Sly, so it's no shade, but we all know our things, and I'm sure he knows too.
For sure.
But yeah,
Dom, really quick, did you feel bad for King Shark when everyone was partying in the club and he was just sitting there in the van? I'm like, oh,
I'm surprised that he didn't like get out and like wander off like a little kid.
I was expecting that.
I did find it funny.
He listens though. He was just like, stay. All right.
He really did. I really thought he was gonna come in there.
I just find it funny because he's essentially like a kid. You ever tell a kid something and they obey, but they really don't understand?
Yeah.
I don't understand. So like, he doesn't understand that he can't walk into a bar with people and people not think that's the weirdest fucking thing they've ever seen.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's just like, why can't I come with you guys? And it's like, well, you're a massive shark that can talk. I think that would mess with some people. So no, you got to stay here. So I thought that was hilarious of like, he just didn't really, it's like when you tell a kid, stay here, don't move. And they're just like, I get the premise of it, but not really. Why can't I move? Like, why can't I follow you? Yeah, like exactly. Like, because their mind wanders. Like, I kind of want to move. Like, I want to see what this moving thing is about. So yeah, I definitely thought that was hilarious. Of like, he just doesn't understand.
I did one thing that I think maybe a lot of people may have kind of like looked at funny is the Starfish. I loved how vibrant he looked, because the most pretty things in nature are the most dangerous. You look at the prettiest snakes, the most colorful, anything, frogs, they're usually venomous, poisonous, kill you in 30 minutes or whatever. So I enjoyed, like, I don't know if they completely thought that far into it, but with the team they had, they probably did, and I kind of appreciated that a lot. It was kind of weird though that you're like, oh, we're a Starfish, like, all right. But I like the whole face hugger aspect. That's always a thing that, like, for some reason we have aliens all the time who want to hug our faces and then take over our bodies. And it was in Invincible. It's been in Alien. It's in everything. So are they trying to tell us something? Like, is somebody? There's been too many things for it not to be true.
That was creepy.
I mean,
especially when it took it off the face, it just
Yeah,
I didn't know they were dead. I thought it would be okay if it come off, but the fact they showed us that, I was like, oh, they're dead.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
I mean, I will say it did bother me when I first heard about this movie because I kind of felt like it was doing the same concept again. Like, if you're going to make a team of the Suicide Squad, where majority of them are human, majority of their powers are very mundane, it should just be a regular bad guy. Yeah, they just have to take out a whole bunch of people to get to the bad guy. But doing a dancing priestess in the first one, doing a giant goddamn starfish in this one, who, by the way, both of them have died in the most stupidest of fucking ways. Like, that's where the scripts always come apart for me in these two movies. It's like, all right, Harley takes the dagger to its eye, and then the rats just eat him to death, essentially. Like,
listen.
Although I will say that was, like, again, like, rats burrow in the medieval ages. Rats burrowing in people's stomachs was a torture method. Sure. So I'm sorry, Trayvon.
The more modern torture of that is just putting it very hungry in a bag and then just putting the bag over your head and just tying it, because it's gonna freak out. I want to get out of here.
Yeah. So
remember Too Fast, Too Furious?
Yes, exactly.
Remember that?
Yes.
So I mean, that made, I guess, a little, to me, I agree with you, because we talked a lot about how in the first one it's like you had this enchantress and, like, primarily non-metahumans going up against it. I don't know, for some reason this felt a little bit more plausible.
It was just, well, to me, I thought the movie was just better.
Yeah.
I think the concept was still stupid. Why are you bringing in this very powerful villain, very powerful villain, and then you have a guy who can just make guns and swords, a guy who has guns and swords, a woman who can summon rats, and then the only thing that makes sense is the demigod shark. To me, it was just, it's just like, what?
When she was like, okay, you done your mission, they blew up the thing, and that's it, they were leaving. I'll say, okay, now that's where Superman comes in. Let them go. Right. This time for Superman to do this. Like,
right,
what could they do with
I kind of thought that too.
Yeah,
Joel brought this up. I kind of want to see Slade used differently, but I would have liked it if the guy that Harley shot, if, obviously you didn't have that whole lovey-dovey scene, but he had hired Slade to protect him. And this was more so like a covert mission of killing a dictator to bring republic back, or democracy, back to the country. It's more like a political mission. And then you have Slade versus Bloodshot in
Bloodsport.
And, I'm thinking Vin Diesel. Sorry, we talked about Vin Diesel in that game in my head. But no, seeing him against Harley Quinn and some of these other non-powered people would have been awesome. Slade try to take on a demigod shark. And what does Slade do against rats? You know what I'm saying? Like, that would have been a little bit more plausible.
Yeah.
And then you could have gone the route of, they thought they killed Slade, but Slade doesn't die. So it's the idea of then maybe Amanda Waller recruits him at the end. It could have been, but again, James Gunn gets paid an absurd amount of money to do these movies. So, what do I know? But go ahead, Dom.
Yeah, it was crazy. I think too that Ratcatcher is probably the most OP person we've seen in a comic book movie, because when we saw those rats towards the end, she could have easily just wiped everything out in the beginning of the movie and be like, it's over. You know what I mean? Like, you can't, there's one thing to kill a couple of rats. You can't kill a million rats without blowing up the city. It's not gonna
I was
happen.
like, just kill me. Just go. Just
Right,
go.
and
I felt
like
so
that-
bad for Bloodsport, like, cause
Oh,
you know,
Me. I was like, that's me. That's me.
No.
Like,
but I will say again,
would've
like
cried.
their relationship was so nice because she put her arm over him, like as a comfort, like knowing
Yeah.
that he had a problem and everything. I don't know, just their relationship was so
And
wonderful.
Was she simply in that bad of a prison because of her how powerful she is? Because what she was arrested for didn't seem. I mean, she wasn't like robbed a bank or something.
Well,
and
no,
then-
no, no.
They
Remember,
counted as like armed robbery because
well,
it
no,
was
remember,
rats.
they're a weapon.
anybody with abilities gets sent
Uh,
to Bell Rip.
That's right.
So it's not what you do, it's how you did it.
That's
So, like, for example, if the Riddler did it and was just doing these massive riddles, he would still, probably go to Arkham. But more than likely, if Amanda Waller thinks you're useful, you come to Bell Rip. So it's not necessarily what you do; it's how useful she thinks you are.
And Viola Davis,
She's so good at her shit, man.
she is so good. Like when she was getting like, when you were showing like this little bit of compassion, but still was like, you fucking move, I'm pressing this button. Look, I don't want to do it. I kind of want to do it, but I'm gonna say I don't want to do it, but I'm about to do it. Like
I will say that's what confused me a little bit. The whole purpose of this movie was to kill the starfish. So when they were walking towards the starfish to kill it, she was threatening to kill them.
No, I don't think that was
She
the
did-
mission. That wasn't the mission. The mission was
She-
just to destroy the data. They
Right.
wanted to get rid of all the data.
I
She
thought
didn't,
the
give,
mission
she
was-
didn't give a
That's all
shit
she wanted.
about that.
She didn't care
just
about
No,
that.
want-
I thought it was Project Kill the Starfish. I thought that was the whole
She
thing.
meant like kill the
project.
evidence.
The project, yeah.
Oh, the project.
evidence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Not
was
the
so
thing.
she
Wait,
was
wait,
so
wait.
she was so cold in
She
this
didn't
movie.
care.
Like
But she
Viola
was
Davis
cool with
is
the
so good.
starfish just running around.
Yeah,
She
she
didn't
didn't give a
care.
shit.
She was like, y'all can leave now. Y'all can leave now. She was like, it's
That's-
done.
Can I
that's-
tell you, like, and I say this with such peace and love because I love Viola Davis, and it's like no one could do Amanda Waller like her. But I did kind of cheer when she got hit with that fucking golf ball. It's like, oh, thank
that
God.
good. And what's crazy is before she got casted in Suicide Squad, my aunt put me on later on to How to Get Away with Murder.
Right.
And she's
Well,
essentially
phenomenal.
She's just Amanda
Spectacular.
Waller in How to Get Away with Murder. So
Yeah.
when she got cast, I was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, that because they were talking to Oprah, Octavia Spencer, and I was just like, I think I would have been okay either way you went, but it was when they said they were going Viola Davis that I said, yeah.
Well,
that's
because
Amanda Waller.
she sold
intimidating.
these scenes so well. Like when one of the guys was like, you would really kill his daughter, and it's like I believe that she would have really killed his
Yeah,
daughter.
I
I
do
mean, I
too.
believed it 100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
kept looking like, I mean, do you know me?
Yeah. Are
Right.
you new here?
Like, what? Huh?
Right.
And I do want to bring this up as we go into the deaths, and I'll let you kick that off.
Mhm.
I do want to go into this because I heard a lot of people saying this, especially my sister. They were getting confused on what Peacemaker meant about his protection of peace. It's not of the people; it's
Right.
of the country. He does what's best for the country. It's why, because Tiana was saying, isn't that like an oxymoron? Like you're for peace, but you'll murder children to obtain it. But that's what he was trying to say.
Kind of
He's
realistic
not
piece.
of the people. He is of the red, white, and blue. His mission is only to protect the flag.
Yeah.
So it was the idea of, yes, I will kill 1 million children to protect the United States of America.
Protect the
So that's
flag.
why I think a lot of people got confused. Wait, say
The
it
kind
again.
of peace we have here.
I said he's protecting the flag, just not Rick Flag.
Yeah, just not Rick Flag. And let me also say this. James Gunn, the most cruel thing you did in this movie, and I mean it in a positive way, not a negative way, was once he stabbed Rick Flag, right? A lot of people were just like, oh, he could survive that.
No,
Like,
and he made sure to show that his
Made
heart
sure
was
to
getting
show
pierced
it.
to be like, he's
it went
dead.
through. So you were just like,
Mhm.
oh shit, yeah, no, you can't survive.
That Mortal Kombat.
Like, think about it. Everybody else died to where you're just like, oh, he got shot up a lot. Okay, obviously we know he's dead, but it's a comic book, so you could bring him back. He made sure Rick's was up close, and
Yep.
you knew, hey, gone.
That's done.
He ain't
Yeah.
coming back.
So
And it was
dirty.
just like, oh damn. Okay, well, okay, yeah. I guess. So T, as I pass it to you, killing Rick Flag is very interesting. I imagine if you're Warner Brothers, you want to make at least 500 more Suicide Squad movies,
Right.
which you can. DC has a very large toy box of villains that you can play around with. Yeah. But Rick Flag is usually Amanda Waller's right-hand man. In the more recent comics, it's been Deadshot that's been her right-hand man. I don't know how much Warner Brothers can depend on Will Smith to be available for all of these Suicide Squad movies. I assume they want to do going forward. And it didn't look like Bloodsport has any interest in being her right-hand man.
I don't know. She said made him the leader, right?
Well, no. I think she achieves her goal, but the way he left it was they didn't go back to jail after this. Yeah. So it's like, well, I don't think the next time you get him in here, you threatening his daughters is going to be able to get it done. So T, I want to pass it to you. Your thoughts on the Rick Flag death, and then take that out, because I know that probably affected you the most. What was the most insane death that you saw come out of this movie? The singular one.
Okay. Well, first of all, I kind of knew that Rick was going to die because both you and Kanan both like messaged me elusive things, and I was like, "He's dying, isn't he?" And it's like you keep saying, "Tia, prepare," and it's like, all right, there's only really one death in this movie that I would want to prepare for. So, but I did like it because Rick Flag is supposed to be this good Boy Scout who does what he's told, and he's Amanda Waller's person, even after you would assume after what happened in the first Suicide Squad that he wouldn't continue working with Amanda Waller, but he does because he's a good soldier, and that's his thing. He's the soldier. He does what he's told and X, Y, and Z, but we still see in this movie especially that, yes, he's a soldier, but he also knows the difference between good and bad. And so when he sees the whole thing that's happening with Project Starfish, his immediate thing is, I'm here for the people. So yes, I signed up to serve my country. That doesn't mean covering up things that are hurting the people. This needs to get out to the people, which is this beautiful contrast with him and Peacemaker. We just talked about how Peacemaker's whole thing is protecting the flag. So the two of them dueling, I thought it was a great fight scene. You have John Cena, who's a wrestler. Joel Kinnaman is like super into Brazilian jiu-jitsu and knows like a thing or two. So their fight scene was really awesome. That helmet shot was so beautiful.
Yes.
And that's also the beauty of James Gunn's like movies. They're fun, obviously, but they also just have really cool cinematic moments in there. So I really loved that fight scene. When Rick Flag has Peacemaker down, he's choking around, he like lifts him and bangs him back on the ground and everything. And for that slight moment, I thought that it was going to be okay, but as soon as Peacemaker took the thing and stabbed him, and then as you said, then they had to show it. I was like, you bastards. But I do like that Rick got the last line there where he was like, Peacemaker, what a joke. I did really enjoy that. So as much as I was sad that he died, because that means now we can't get him for future movies, I did like that. It's like, yeah, you may have killed me, but you didn't win this. And Ratcatcher saw it happen. So I mean, it's not like Peacemaker could have gotten himself out of that. So it was a really great fight scene. I'm glad that Rick Flag went out in this honorable way. I think it showed a lot of his character, so I really like that. I'm trying to think what death I was just like shit. I will tell you the death that I had to look away for was when Starro killed the Thinker. Even though I wasn't, say, like attached to the Thinker or anything that like pulls someone apart is just like, oh god, to me. So yeah, I would definitely maybe put that as my like, holy shit. Yeah, it was just so many deaths, especially in that beginning. But really quick, I know you said death, and I'm trying to like keep it, but to me one of the funniest things was Javelin dying and him like giving his javelin to Harley, and he's like, it's for, and he just dies, and she's like, what's it for? I'm like, I love this. I love it. And I was
fashion.
I was sad that Javelin died. Him and his beautiful accent.
And apparently, American women love the
Love
accent.
I love her going. I love her going in the most like bastardized like Brooklyn, New York accent ever. We don't have accents.
That should count as an accent.
Yes. Yes.
It's an entirely different language for sure. I do figure it out with Pete and JD. And when you hear them really get into it, you're just like, that's not English. That's not an American accent. What is that?
and I'm from New York, so it's like hearing that. Oh.
What was I going to say? Yeah, no, I mean the pulling apart thing. Coming from a horror movie background, I've seen it done just so poorly. A body does not just come right apart. No matter how strong anything is, a body does not just come right apart. There is so much resistance in it. It's why it's no real good way to ever do it, you know? So when King Shark did it, I appreciated it because, and I know this is a little gruesome. I'm sorry, but again, it's the horror movie fan in me. But you could see the guy's eye from one side and the other, watching himself be ripped apart, and you see the entrails going as he's being
gruesome.
That's how it would be, because I don't think people realize this. There's a rib cage. there's so many bones and structures keeping your body whole. So when you rip it apart, it doesn't just like you're ripping paper. So I appreciate it when Starro and King Shark did it, because I'm like, well, that's how a body would be ripped in half if it were to be ripped in half. Bravo, James Gunn. But I think the one that affected me the most probably when Polka Dot Man died. Only because I just didn't see it coming. I was just like, oh man, he's got the one ability that actually fucking works right now. Like, here we go. And then Starro was just like, I noticed that also. Let me kill him real quick. Like, think about it. Starro didn't even try to have one of the starfish like jump on his face. It was just like, nah, I gotta kill him. I gotta do it myself. And it was heartbreaking because he just had his hero moment where he's like, I'm a hero. Like, yes. It's just like,
wait, but it was so great because it reminded me of like a parody of the scene in Avengers, and Captain America's like, you go there, and Hulk smash, and pretty much Bloodsport goes, and Polka Dot Man, that's your mom.
Right.
It's like,
right.
Oh my
you know,
God.
it reminded me of anyone that's seen Kong Skull Island, where
Yeah,
the one guy was sacrificing himself, and the monster just throws him. And that wasn't what was the funny part, that he got thrown trying to sacrifice himself. What was funny was the monster throwing him into the wall isn't what killed him. The monster threw him into the wall, and the grenade that he pulled exploded as he went into the wall. So it was just like, you essentially you died for nothing.
Nothing.
Like,
well, I mean, and that's what's great.
Nothing.
It's like these big heroic moments, and it's like the shock of them just pulling the rug from underneath you.
Right. Yeah, it was just like, oh wow. Dom, what was what death really stood out to you from this?
I wouldn't say certain. Well, it stood out for a giddy reason. My wife has a crush on Pete Davidson, so when he got his face blown off, and I was like, ha ha.
That was so great.
I did love like out of the kills though, that King Shark ripping it apart with the lightning, and it kind of froze like a poster. I was like, that's beautiful right there. James Gunn and Zack Snyder and Deborah Snyder just need to like make everything for DC and just kind of, I don't know, whatever kind of formula and connection they have with each other works.
Was he a part of this, or was he just there in name only? Because he technically was part of the casting of Harley.
I don't know. When I was going through the notes, like his name was there a lot.
Yeah, he's always going to be the producer because this is the DCEU. So until you get out of that, he had his hand in essentially all of the world.
That's true.
So I think he'll always have producer credits, but I don't know. I'm not saying he didn't. Let me make that very clear. That's why I'm asking. in case maybe someone heard something.
The Snyder
him and
fans
Deborah-
descend on us.
Him and Deborah will
Hey, I'm
always
a part of it, so
they will always have producer credits on anytime a character is involved that was part of the DCU when he was there.
Before we move to Trayvon, do you know? Because I was trying to figure out the whole movie. What is Peacemaker's helmet supposed to be?
Toilet seat.
Is it supposed to be like a Liberty Bell or something, or like?
Essentially, I think I'm gonna have to ask Joel. I know he knows. But I think it's supposed to play off of something like that.
It's so like I don't like it. I don't like the look of it. The whole time just like take that helmet off, dude. Like most time we want to see the helmets on, and like take it off. My stepson was like, "No, his helmet's really cool," and I was like, "What are you looking at? Are you talking about Bloodsport? It's trash."
Yeah, I will say how Bloodsport's mask comes on and off is the weirdest thing. He has to attach a piece here and then put the face piece on. It's just like, that's a lot of time. Like, just wear it or don't wear it. Like that's a lot of time.
He looked dope though.
I was gonna say, it's like, did it look
great
cool?
design.
It looked
It was
cool.
a really good design. And again, we know from early drafts that James Gunn wanted Deadshot. Clearly he couldn't get him. So look, he took a character not one person gave a shit about. And now in the comics, he has a really large role in the comics for the Suicide Squad. He's going through different dimensions to pull off assassinations. So like it's really dope what they're doing with the character in the comics right now. Shout out to Joel who showed me that. So yeah, it worked, but it's why I was telling Tia, take more people that don't matter to the larger scheme of anything, and then you want to do whatever you want to do. You want to take Condiment King and change his powers and kill him or what? Sure, because I damn sure don't need Kite Man in a Batman movie. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, do what you want. I have no quarrels with that whatsoever. But after you go, Trayvon, I do want to ask our last question of the night. What are some of the characters you want to see in the follow-up? Or if you don't know, if you can't think of any, my other question will be, instead of that, what do you want to see James Gunn do next for DC? Because obviously you saw Hamada and everybody saying he's going to be doing a lot over here. I told you guys this before. I thought he was going to be the prodigal son to DC. I saw the writing on the wall of that. I mean, the guy that made a talking tree and a raccoon $1 billion market, there's no way that he can't make this pop. So I'm like, of course Warner Brothers is going to jump on that. They'd be idiots not to. And he kind of seems like the writing's on the wall for him in Marvel. You know, for a lot of that cast in Marvel, kind of seems like they're ready to kind of part ways. But Trayvon, what death in this movie stood out to you the most?
I mean, I would have said Polka Dot Man because I was like, oh, he was so happy he did that. And then boom, I was like, oh, okay, well, all right. I think that was like shocking, kinda. But the most surprising one was Rick Flagg. I didn't expect him to actually die. To be honest, I just really didn't expect that at all. I was like, oh, he died. I was like, I didn't, yeah. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, it definitely caught me off guard. I'm sitting there watching it. I'm just like, how the hell is he gonna get out of this? And then when he stabbed him, I'm just like, okay, all right. He's gone.
Such a good group as far as like this ragtag group of like hero villains. It was the scene where they go into to go rescue Rick and they kill all those guys. And like, he's like, "Are you drinking tea? Like, how many people didn't
I swear I laughed so hard.
There was no people.
I will say that was hands down by a mile the funniest interaction in the entire movie. Because you just see Alice Braga's character just like, why didn't my men alert me? And they're just like,
well, no man.
about that. It's like, did you see them on your way in? No, didn't say anything.
It's like you guys couldn't have done any like retcon or something, like trying to figure out if they were the enemies or not. I want to piggyback on what Dom said, and another scene like that is another rescue scene when, Rick Flagg and Bloodsport were gonna go rescue Harley
Yeah.
Quinn. I know we saw it in the trailer, but it was just equally as funny and everything. And she's like, "You were gonna come save me?" And she like hugs him,
Yeah.
and Rick literally like strokes her back with the gun. And
I can
he's
go back and you can go ahead and do it.
and what
That's
Bloodsport,
not
he goes, "That's just
patronizing
patronizing."
Like,
Can we,
no, let's go. We didn't even want to come. Rick wanted to come save you. We were ready
Which
to.
I love their
Fiona.
friendship. Like I love their friendship, by the way, because
Yeah.
in the first one, it's like, you know, he's so annoyed by her, and she's saying that they're gonna kill him, blah blah. And then for this one, for Rick to be like, you know, is Harley dead or alive, and actually concerned, and then Harley being like, Rick was my friend. I'm like, I love this development.
You know, when you see the end credit scene of Peacemaker being alive, you know what I thought of, Tia? I thought of James Gunn poking fun at Black Widow, and it being Amanda Waller showing up to Harley, who's standing over like Rick Flagg's grave, and just going, "Would you like to know who killed Rick Flagg?" And it's just a picture of Peacemaker, and it's like it's like, uh-oh, Harley Quinn versus Peacemaker now. This is gonna be great.
Do you know that meme where it's like the one guy looking at a photo and he's like, "I've had enough of this guy," and it's like, that was me with Peacemaker. I have had enough of this guy.
For sure. Go ahead,
She
Trayvon.
doesn't know though, does she? She doesn't know. So maybe they need to tell her. That'll be fun. Like maybe they need to
Yeah,
tell her
I'm
that,
well.
you know.
Also, I think if you're Bloodsport, I think you don't feel the need to tell her, because you in all actuality, you think he's dead. So it's like, well, telling her doesn't really do anything. It's only if they find out that he's still alive, which would be interesting, because I don't think Amanda Waller would be too happy, as you saw from her two subordinates, that they were hiding him from her. So that'll be interesting for her to find out. Like, not only did y'all knock me out and think it was cool, y'all just gonna have people come back to life and not tell me? Okay.
Well, I thought they said in that end credit scene that he assigned them to him. That it was like, this is a punishment.
No,
That's what I thought they're saying.
I'll have to
that's what
watch
they
it again,
said.
because I could have sworn they were saying, does Amanda Waller know? Like, I thought the doctor was saying that, and I thought they were saying, no, she doesn't know, and no one needs to. I thought this was like a secret project they were doing. I could be wrong, Trayvon. I could.
I'm not sure. I thought that's what they said. I don't know if
I could be 100% wrong.
All
right. Oh no,
well,
go ahead.
I was about to say, do you have any idea what the show is about? Are they going to use him to go after Bloodsport to get the?
No, we'll have. No, I doubt Idris Elba is in it, because they already finished filming, and I've heard nothing about Idris Elba being in it.
That's true.
But good news for you, Trayvon, is we will get a trailer for it at Fandom this October. So we'll know more about it. But as of now, because remember, we didn't even know before Thursday if it was a prequel or not. So we don't know anything, really. So we'll find out everything probably at Fandom or just a little closer to Fandom. But all right, so our last question of the night before we get out of here. Either who would you like to see join the next Suicide Squad movie, or what project would you like to see James Gunn take on next? Personally, I want to see Deathstroke. That's really it. You put Deathstroke in it, that's all I need. That's really all I need. But apparently, if it looks like James Gunn can just literally take whoever he wants and do whatever he wants, go balls to the wall. Get somebody really crazy. Get somebody that is a big villain that we would never expect you to be able to pull. But Warner Brothers lets you pull him. And I don't mean a Joker, because he was obviously never part of the Suicide Squad. But just pull somebody to make us go, whoa, you got that guy? And he's part of the Suicide Squad? Sign me up. I'm intrigued. But yeah, really Deathstroke for me. That's it. I just want to see Deathstroke. And I'm really interested, because I don't think you can pull this off. I don't think you can pull off Bloodsport and Deadshot. I think they're redundant. So I don't see how Idris Elba comes back if Will Smith comes back for the next Suicide.
I don't think Will Smith's ever coming back. I think that's
here's the reason why I think he is coming back. It's just a matter of when, because they didn't recast him when they had the opportunity to. Because I think he told them, I want to do it, but he was filming Bad Boys, so he couldn't. So it wasn't like he didn't want to do it anymore.
No, yeah.
He literally just couldn't.
He's been getting in shape. I've been watching his Instagram and his TikTok.
Yeah.
He's been working out.
And look, let me say this. If Will Smith does decide not to come back, I'll be very angry because we had a perfect opportunity to get Michael B. Jordan in here as Deadshot. Or just to make Idris Elba Deadshot as a recast. So, because think about it. They went the route of, you're using my daughter to get to me. What did they exactly do in the first one? They used his daughter to get to Deadshot. So it's like, well, he wanted Deadshot, obviously. Go ahead.
mean, Bloodsport was very similar to Deadshot. You know, a master assassin who can use anything as a weapon, has perfect aim every single time, and is in prison and will do anything for their daughter. The only difference was, Deadshot was a lot nicer to his daughter, but Bloodsport. But either way, even though he was telling her to go F herself, he still, cared about her and everything. So I mean,
having Daddy's Little Girls flashbacks,
Yeah.
Yes, 100% for sure. So I mean, I do think Will Smith will be back because as much as James Gunn wanted to use Deadshot, they could have just recasted him if Will Smith didn't want to come back. So I think the plan is for him to come back. There were early plans for Deadshot to get his own movie. So I don't know if that's been scrapped with the new regime, if he'll get an HBO Max show. But I think the best thing is for us to get a Bloodsport HBO Max show so that we can see him continue on with the character and Will Smith can be that more permanent piece for the movies. And you can maybe rotate him in whenever you don't have Will Smith. Because again, you literally making the joke of Peacemaker and Bloodsport being the same exact person was like, well, we get that being humorous, but I don't actually want to see that ever again. Two people that are the same thing. What the hell do I need that for? All right, Tia. So the question goes to you next. Either who do you want to see join the Suicide Squad, or what project do you want to see James Gunn work on for DC next?
I'll give you both. I do agree Deathstroke would be awesome. Maybe Poison Ivy. I mean, we still haven't seen her in anything. I know that Margot Robbie has said that she would take some time before being Harley Quinn again, but 5 years down the line.
When did she say that? I just saw an interview that she did maybe 2 days ago where she was just like, she didn't take a break between Birds of Prey into this, but she's ready to be Harley again. Like if they have something for her, she's ready to go.
I mean, I could have sworn that I saw an interview like a week or two ago where she said that she would maybe want to take a break, not necessarily that she was done completely, just saying that playing Harley is obviously a lot, and because she didn't have any pause in between Birds of Prey and the Suicide Squad, that maybe she'd like to take a break. So I'm just saying, if it is a few years, I'd love to see Margot Robbie interact with a Poison Ivy. I think that would be great. And as far as what project I'd like to see James Gunn do for DC, a Rick Flagg prequel series. Thanks.
I mean, heck, why not?
That'd be good.
Yeah, I mean, look, Rick Flagg was. I enjoyed Rick Flagg. It was probably one of the only things I enjoyed from the first one. And then he was awesome in this second one. So yeah, why not? And I do appreciate him having his comic accurate yellow shirt. I'm a sucker for accuracy, and I ate that shit up. I loved it. Dom, I'm gonna go to you next. 2 questions. What do you want to see James Gunn do for DC next? And who would you like to see join the next Suicide Squad?
I'm also on the bandwagon of Deathstroke. I mean, and honestly, I wouldn't mind Bloodsport, Deathshot, and Deathstroke. I like the kind of possible double dragon aspect of it. And I've always kind of been into that like ninja-esque assassin aesthetic. So like if I see it more often, I'm not gonna care too much as long as it's done well. As far as also I need if we're gonna keep getting Suicide Squad movies, possibly, I want them to go against something almost on the level of like Infinity Saga, something that's like so difficult to stop that one movie they don't accomplish their mission, like some kind of interdimensional being, like a Trigon or something like that, where you're like, we're not you know, Justice League, we're who we are, you know what I mean? So I want to see like some true adversity to where it has like a part two.
I'm glad you said that because you know me, my mind starts to immediately draw up a movie where they're facing someone like maybe Reverse Flash, and it's the idea of stopping him from going back in time. The idea that they mess up and he actually goes back in time, and the movie literally ends like this. Oh shit. And then it just fades to black, and it's just like, but see, part of that being fun, Dom, is establishing a continuity.
Yeah.
Because the fallout of that could lead into a Flash movie, could lead into a Justice League movie. But you need a continuity to do fun things like that. You know what I'm saying?
Also, DC needs to, like, if they do something like that, they need to believe in it and make sure they do it. Not just like, oh, this movie didn't make much money, want scrap it all. Like, you gotta really stick with it. Like, even with Marvel, I know we don't compare them, but some of the movies didn't make as much money as the other ones, but they still kept going.
That is true. Like, DC doesn't, they're very we're really excited about this project, and it's like, well, audience didn't really like it, and they're like, all right, we'll just move it aside, and it's like, live or die by it, man.
I mean, shit, double down on it.
Yeah, I mean, at some point you have to take a loss and just know that it's gonna lead, to something better. But
going somewhere,
But as far as James Gunn making something else, I really just, because I'm not super familiar with the whole DC catalog, so I like him to like build on more obscure characters that are somewhat like well known, not like super minuscule characters, but some that they only show up in half of a run, and then you never really see them too many times again. So I like him to kind of build a catalog for me to get out of just the main ones that we always see.
Yeah, I mean, after seeing this, and I'm gonna go to you, Trayvon, to end this out on this. Personally, because I don't think I said this for this. I would like to see James Gunn do what the Harley Quinn show is doing, but as a movie. You introduce King Shark. He already wants Poison Ivy. You bring together that team and just make a Harley Quinn movie. She loves James Gunn. They love working with each other. She literally probably had the best action sequence in the entire movie.
The best action sequence? And I don't mean to interrupt. I'm so sorry. But literally, these were my favorite costumes of Harley. To get finally the red and black look, which it seems as if both David Ayer and Cathy Yan shied away from. It's like, I don't need this new 52 look all the time. Like, give me classic Harley, and I loved it.
You got to give David Ayer some love. He gave us the Court Jester Harley.
No. And don't get me wrong.
See that shot ever. That was beautiful as hell.
Listen, we had a whole episode where I defended the 2016 Suicide Squad. I'm not hating on that movie at all. No, that was fine, but it's just I loved her costumes in this.
You know what's crazy, Tia? It seems like DC is having a trouble with that period because the biggest issue of the first season of Titans was is it out of the realm of possibility Starfire can wear some fucking pants? Like is it a reason why she looks as though she's gonna lean over your car door and go?
Yes. Oh my god, it was so uncomfortable.
Yeah, you looking for a good time? Like, why can't she wear pants? Like, in DC's mind, women don't wear pants. Like, they're just they're shorts, they're low skirts. You're just like, bro, put on people.
It's funny you say that. I did rewatch Suicide Squad some months ago. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I love from the waist up, and I'm not trying to be a prude because I do love the fishnet look, but as a woman, I'm sitting there going, that must have been so like uncomfortable for her, to be around everyone, and it's like literally has something going up her ass crack. The same thing with Enchantress, it's like I sit there and go, what are you guys trying to say here?
I mean, it's never a good look. It's never a good look, especially when you look at the guys fully clothed in costumes, Captain Boomerang with a jacket on and whatnot. And then you look at Harley and you're just like, you know we were coming to save the world. Why did you dress in that? Like,
Which
what?
is why I appreciate James Gunn literally did put John Cena in tidy whities and literally showed some dude's junk, because it's like, let's reverse this. Let's reverse the uncomfortability here, you
And
know?
it's kind of like
Yeah.
You reversed it.
we saw Black Widow. They looked great. They can still look sexy in the a tight full body uniform. You're like,
I also don't appreciate what they're saying about guys, to where it's just like, forget a face. They need to see the body. That's all.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, because you can't pan the camera up and then I see an ugly face. You know what I'm saying? Like, the face to me is what matters 100% the most, more so than anything else.
Yes.
You know, so like, she could be fully clothed and I'm just like, man, she's beautiful. That's enough. To them, they're just like, no. We got to show everything. And then the face is just, who cares?
Yeah, that is very true. That like, and I'm not saying that Marvel hasn't had these problems too. Like, you know, Black Widow, the movie, even before it came out, got a lot of praise for the fact that, you know, Scarlett Johansson looked like she was in a costume that she finally could breathe in. So I mean, you know, I'm just saying, like, as a woman going back and rewatching that first Suicide Squad movie, it's like, listen, I love your outfit, Harley. But first of all, you have to be a certain size to wear those pants that she was wearing. And the fact that it's like, I just think of being her and Cara, I forget her last name, the one who played Enchantress. Yeah, and being in front of like all these, you know, people on set, and as you said, everyone's like fully clothed, and it's like, I have a breeze up my butt right now.
Definitely weird, but yeah, I want to see James Gunn do a Harley Quinn movie. Just call it Harley Quinn.
Love it.
That's it. No emancipation, no birds of prey. Harley Quinn, and it's about her.
Have
Go
this
ahead, Dom, I'm sorry.
run of comics. It's just Harley Quinn. Like, I have the first 2 volumes, and it's just called Harley, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And sold like hotcakes. So like, yeah, I don't know why that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, to me, I want a movie about her struggling to do good, but just wanting to be bad so much. And it's the idea of her putting together this team, like the show, putting together this team to garnish respect in Gotham as one of the big bosses. You know, now that she's away from the Joker, I want to see, what does Gotham look like when Harley Quinn is trying to be the one that runs it, you know? And you can have fun. You don't have to have Batman in it. You damn sure got to have Joker in it. Whatever Joker you want to go with, Joker needs to be in it. But it's essentially Harley putting together this ragtag group, trying to be good, but wanting to be bad also. And it's her playing on both sides of like, oh man, there's a school bus, let's blow it up. And it's just like, no, Harley, no, you can't do that. And it's just like, oh man, like, like, but I want to, you know? So like, I think James Gunn would really have fun with that, bringing back King Shark to give us more nom-noms, and then bringing in Poison Ivy. I think you would have a lot of fun with that. And even if you want to bring back Ratcatcher, you know, I don't think she really fits, but hell, why not? You know, for Trayvon's sake, don't. But why not just go and have fun? So I would very much look forward to a James Gunn directed Harley Quinn movie. But Trayvon, to end this out, who would you like to see join the Suicide Squad next? And what would you like to see James Gunn do for the DC universe?
To join the Suicide Squad, I'm really not sure about.
Was there anybody you would like to see come back?
Come back. I'm Ratcatcher. I mean, it was cool, but I just I mean, I wouldn't mind Bloodsport coming back. I like that his stuff is kind of techie. I don't know, like the way he put that gun together. I was like, oh, this is cool. That's okay. Like, it just, and then he ran out of stuff. He was like, oh crap, I have nothing. I have nothing left. I was like, this is great. I was like, this is cool. Like, I guess that's the difference between him and Peacemaker. Peacemaker just uses like regular stuff, axe or whatever he had in his hand, and Plus was actually making stuff. And he was okay. I need to pick gun for this Starro.
Like, never explained it, and I don't really need an explanation. But he had a sword, but he never had a sheath to put the sword in.
Yeah.
Where the hell did the sword come from? Like, he kept pulling the sword out, and it's just like, well,
Maybe it
I
extends or
back.
something, then it goes back. Maybe.
Oh yeah, that's very possible. That's very possible. I would have
Maybe
liked to
that's what
have
it does.
seen that maybe.
Yeah.
Because I kept
yeah.
seeing him just randomly pull it out. Like, where is this coming from? Like, I'm afraid to even ask. Where are you pulling this sword from? Like, where are you keeping it, Peacemaker? But I'm sorry. Go ahead, Drew.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's that's and the character I really want to see more of is Black Canary. Like we got a great tease of her in Birds Emancipation. Listen, Birds of Prey. Like we got a great tease of that, and I mean that. I mean, even I know they were talking about David Ayer was talking about was it Gotham City Sirens at one point or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if he would want to do any more movies with Warner Brothers or not, but I mean, that I would really like to see that. I thought that was a cool like team up and stuff. Like I would like to, like you said, Poison Ivy. I would like to see I would love to see Black Canary again. I want to see more about her. I don't know exactly what story that would be. I'm not like familiar with the comics like that. I just liked her character. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I would like to see more of her.
I'm with you on that. I needed to include Oliver Queen. I don't want to see anything else from Black Canary that does not have Oliver Queen. Same as I wouldn't want anything from Oliver that doesn't have Black Canary. So as long as you find a way to give me Oliver Queen, bring it on. I'm 100% with you. Give me more Black Canary.
Okay, I think and I'm if they weren't doing the Green Lantern show, I was like Green Lantern Corps. It would be fun for him to do. So I can't wait to see that show.
He'd probably have a lot of fun with that. All those nice visuals and space and shit like that.
And they have a lot of people don't know this. They have a it's kind of like a rabbit who is a Green Lantern. Obviously, Kilowog, who's a Green Lantern. It looks like a chicken, not a chicken like a small little chicken, but he has like a beak and whatnot. So it's like an alien. But he looks like. So there's a lot of really obscure characters that are Green Lanterns that he would definitely pull from and have so much fun with them. I'm still holding out hope J.J. Abrams will do my Green Lantern movie, but it's looking slimmer and slimmer by the day. He looks like he wants to do everything but the one thing I've always
I mean, at least the show is going to be on HBO Max, so I feel like maybe they'll put some money behind it, like I'm hoping they do all these other movies that they're doing on HBO Max. Because I know you got to joke about CW, so it's not on there. It's on HBO Max.
Hey,
so let's see.
Time out. You're thinking AJ. you know. I do watch the CW.
But you also joke the Flash a lot, though.
Have you watched The Flash recently?
I'm sorry, I would never not say that.
I think it's fun. I don't know. Whatever.
But yeah, I'm never a fan of them introducing Green Lantern and not just starting with Hal Jordan and John Stewart. So you giving me a show that's not Hal Jordan or John Stewart, it doesn't really appeal to me all that much. I'm gonna watch it, of course, but it's why can't you just set things in order?
How do you feel about John Diggle Stewart? How do you feel about the way
how do I feel about the guy who received the ring but refuses to put the mother?
Well, I'm saying yes, I'm mad about that too. I want him to actually do it. Like
that's all I'm waiting for.
Okay,
that's all I'm waiting for. Okay. Yeah, I don't mind that they made John Diggle John Stewart. I don't mind that. Him being Spartan was always the stupidest shit ever.
Yeah, that's
especially when he could have just been the Guardian. Like, why did you make him Spartan?
That's true.
Guardian was right there. But anyway, you guys don't need to hear me and Trayvon geek out about this. I want to thank Trayvon, Dom, and Tia for joining me for this awesome review of The Suicide Squad. This was our spoiler review. I think overall we all enjoyed it. I don't think we thought this movie was bad by any means. James Gunn has another hit on his hand, and someone on Apple Music, I don't know if it's official, but they just put together all the songs that were played throughout the movie.
Oh, okay.
It's just like awesome. James Gunn, he just understands the assignment. He really does. He might have to some rappers might have to call on James Gunn to be like an executive producer for their albums. I mean, the man is a genius curator of music. That's one thing you can always say. If you don't like his movies, cool. But you damn sure can't say anything bad about his choice of music. But anyway, thank you guys for joining us. Make sure you guys stay tuned. We have Figured Out, we'll come back, but we have Marvel Cinematic Review coming back this week for What If. And as someone who has seen what If has under their sleeves, you guys are in for a Tia also. You guys are in for a world of fun. That's all we can tell you. So stay tuned. Trayvon, I'm gonna actually get with you and Joel maybe for us to weekly review Stargirl that drops this Tuesday. There's a huge audience
already.
Oh, Tia, you also. I forgot how much you love Stargirl.
Yeah, I really loved the first season. I didn't realize it was back so soon.
Yeah, it's back Tuesday.
Nice, cool.
Tuesday
The last 2 episodes of Superman and Lois, I think, right? And
yes,
Superman
yep. That's working its way out. Supergirl's working its way in, and then Supergirl will probably end when the other shows come back in the fall. So that's nice, giving her space since it doesn't really connect. But all right, so make sure you guys not yet, exactly. Make sure you guys stay tuned for the MCR returning this week. We got a good one for you guys. This first episode was a good one, so we can't wait to break it down with our MCR family. And stay tuned. Titans is on the horizon. It's coming.
It is.
And as also someone who has seen that, you're in for something for sure.
You've seen that too?
I've seen that too.
Okay.
That's something. Dom and Tia, make sure you guys check that out also when you guys get a chance. But all right, thank you guys for tuning into this review. We can't wait to review the next thing, which I think will be Shang-Chi.
Yep,
will be the next movie that we break down together. So someone here, I won't say who, might be putting some eyes to the screens of Shang-Chi. But anyway, make sure you guys stay tuned. We have so much in store for you. Tia's dropped numerous interviews. Dom has numerous reviews. And Trayvon is getting back into the video game. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. I'm very happy about that. But until next time, guys. Peace.
Hi, everyone.